Hi everyone, here's another mini album I'd like to share with you all. So here I've created a mini album using, I upcycled my old albums that were like 26 years ago. So I thought of how I could make it look brand new with all the new papers and things that we have now in scrapbooking, which is like a whole bunch of cute little embellishment and stuff, and I wanted to make it look brand new and up to date. So here I have a mini album that I use these old pages that are, how the old albums were. So I just cut these in half and upcycled them to make this mini album. So here I have little tassels with the claw that I used to clip on here. These I ordered through Amazon, and they come with a whole bunch of gadgets and little whatnot to use for your album and other projects as well. And on here I use the paper collection from Colorbach, and this is the vintage, which measures 8.5 by 11. I think it's also the more the merrier, just in case if that's not what it's, if it doesn't just show up on your search. And these are 26 patterns, 10 solids, and 209 cutouts. So it's really cute because you can use a lot of the cut aparts for your titling and your journaling. And I think that was only $8 or $10 at Walmart when I saw it. But I just love the color because it has that farmhouse country chic kind of color, Cape Cod almost, and that's what I love. Are the teals and the lime kiwi green kind of thing, and some of the grayish tones. So here the title that I used for the cut aparts was "Here is Where My Story Begins." I matted this with 3 of the papers that came with the kit, and then I just adhere it to the page with foam tapes, as you could see on here. Could you see it? Yeah, so I used 3 foam, 6 total on here to adhere to the album front cover. Again, I used the seam binding technique for binding the album, and again with the tassels on the side, which is cute. And yeah, so these pictures were like 26 years ago, but I just think they're really cute because now they look more up to date with the new paper collections from the 2020s. So in the kit, it came with these papers, so I can use them for journaling. I use my old Stampin' Up! Punch for the tabs. Again, the cutouts, and I just use my heart punch and adhere that on here. So it's very, very easy to make. I use the matting paper, the solid paper on the back for the matting. Again, some more journaling tags on here. And this came with the kit, so you can pretty much just use this as your stencil and make as many as you want if you don't have the punch for tags, and use that as your journaling statement on your page. And again, some more of the cut aparts here, some heart punch. Oh yeah, let me tell you, the measurement on this album measures at 7 3/8 by 5.5, and that is the size that I cut the paper, the album paper to. So this is pretty good. I think this, it has a little bit of tackiness in there. There's some plastic. Sometimes I just use my Cricut spatula to take out some of the plastic because, like I said, it's 26 years old. So might as well, make it look nice and clean it out a little bit. So it has more time consuming to take out the plastic cover, but it's okay. It looks really nice after when you're done. And again, some more of the pictures on that side. So this side, it's the Polaroid version. So, I mean, portrait version. So that's why it's like this. And then the panoramic side, which is the this picture this way. So it's left and right. So like back then you couldn't really choose, so you just have to deal with what the picture came out and what it looked like. So you couldn't like do retakes or whatsoever. So that's what I did. Again, some more of the Stampin' Up! Punch tab. The cutout says cherish. The papers is so pretty. It just says families forever, remember. So here we go. Some more, of course, we love Scooby-Doo, and it's unforgettable. And I just love this page because it was so fitting that we were by the pond lake kind of thing, and then they had this little water bird feeder kind of thing on this side for this page, and I thought a bird bath would be perfect for this. And again, the cut aparts with memories on here. Same matting with the paper. And hugs and kisses, XOXO, and so sweet. Again, some more journaling. So this, I only did like 5 of the thing, 5 pages, front and back. But what I love about it is that now I can go and say, hey, do you guys want to see my pictures to the kids especially, instead of like grabbing an old album, now they can actually see like, wow, that's so pretty. You know, now you can actually make and call it a brag book because of the fact that you can brag about it. But back in the days, it would just stay in the album somewhere and just like, oh, those were old pictures, you know. But now I'm like, yeah, here's my hubby 26 years ago in our pictures. Now I'm not really, you know, like, oh yeah, it's in the old album kind of thing. But let me show you how I went about making this album. So let's start. Like I said, I started with 3 of these albums. So these were, let me move this. So I used 3 of these, okay? Let me see if I can focus out. So these measured, like I said, 11.5 by, I think this is, yeah, this is 11 by 8 5/8. That's what it measured. So I took it down to, okay, so let me see. So what you want to do is you want to cut your paper. I mean, you can use any size, but this is what I did on my album. So I think I cut the page to 5.5 this way. So 5.5, okay. And then on this side, I made it 7 3/8. Then I just cut. Okay. And then let's do the other side. I think this is 5.5 as well, correct? Yeah, because it's 11, yes. And 7 3/8, so there. Okay. All right. So now you have 2 of these pages, okay? And then let's do another one. Like you can see there's still some more plastic on there, but it's okay. You can go ahead and take those out later. So we'll do this at 5.5. Cut. Okay, so they're both the same. And then you just want to cut it at 7 3/8. Okay. And then 7 3/8 again. Okay. And then the last one again, which is the 3rd sheet. Cut it at 5.5. And 7 3/8. So yeah, you can make as many as you want. Like with this album, you guys know, like old school albums had so many pages, so you can continuously cut it. So now that I have my 5 pages, because you just want to have, you know, like a middle page. So you have 1 2 3 4 5 pages, right? And then the one that was left, because this made 6, because you used 3 sheets, so you would get 6 tabs. So then you just want to make this at, you want to measure it at 2. Cut it at 2 inches, so it will be at 2 by 5.5. Okay, so 2 by 5.5. So let me get this at 5.5 because that's the measurements that you want to get it. So 2 by 5.5. Let me just go ahead and do this already at 5.5, and then I can just cut down straight. So 5.5 by 2. And I think we only need 3 of these. Okay. So now, that. I'm going to go ahead and at the 2-inch mark here, take your score and just score it at 1 inch. And like, yeah, the paper is really thick, so you might have to like keep, you know, scoring a little bit, but okay. And there's still a little bit tackiness to it, like you see it, but that's fine. You're able to like untack it from each other. But at least, you know, like you have your pictures and say, yeah, I use the same album. I just updated a little bit, you know, but it's the same album. Okay, so then what you want to do is, from your 5 pages, all you're going to do is adhere it. So you're just going to glue. You're just going to glue on each side, adhere. Like you can see, this still has tackiness, but of course you're going to ensure it by adding some more glue. Okay, I'm just showing you what it will look like. So you add it to that, then you add this again, you put some glue and adhere it to that, right? And just try to make it straight. As you can see, I'm rushing this because I don't know how much time I have on my cell phone, because I've been recording so many things, celebrating hubby's birthday, and I have all these videos on here. And yeah, so those were the 3 that we did of the binding. Okay, so let me see if I do need one more. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess I do need one more of the, so you can make one more. So on here, I'm just going to go ahead and get one. I'll just figure out if this here, you can just, this was at 1 3, 1.5, I guess. So I just put it in, scored it in the middle, and then just do it like that. Or you can even just go ahead and make it 1 3/4 and then just score it in the middle. And it still works out great. You just, you know, stick it, oops, all over the place, but it will be straight once you do it on here. So that's how I did the album. And then what I did was, I just, before I attached the paper, I just used the seam binding. So whatever, you know, if you have a ribbon or whatever you have, just go ahead and this is, you just want to see if you have enough, and you just adhere that before you put your designer paper on, and just cut it to the length that you want. And then, you know, then you have your album. So you just put a tape here, run a tape here, and then stick it in the middle like that. And what you want to do is leave a little bit of a gap room here, like this much, so you can adhere your like your tassels or any rings if you wanted to put some rings on there. And you just tie it here. And the designer paper that I use measured at 7 1/8 by 5 3/8. So you can just, you know, or whatever you want, you can just use the whole thing. I'm just using this as a thing, as a template, or as my thing. So yeah, just go ahead and measure it to that paper size that you want. And that's how I went about making this. So like I said, you just need 4 of those binding things to bind them together. 5 pages. I'm trying to, so you can see. So 5 pages of these. And then you just bind them all on here. So, you know, so it will look nice. So it will be somewhat like this. So when you open it up, you can put your pockets or anything on here, as you can see. You know, it's a really simple thing to create, and use what you have in hand. That's the great thing about this. When I saw this, I'm like, I know everybody has these albums. You can go out there and just cut all those albums and then make it to the size that you want. The reason why I chose that size was because it's perfect. I can get 2 pages from one sheet, which is 5.5 by the 7 3/8. So then I can use all of this and then use it as my binding as well within the album, and then just use my designer paper and whatever you have in hand to make your album. It's something really cute. You can make as many. Like I said, this is perfect to give for grandparents or your friends, you know, for school. You know, it's just something that you can whip up, and it takes about less than an hour, which is so great. As long as you have your papers that you decide, or your theme that you're wanting to use, and you know, you can do your journaling later. And if it's a gift, you don't even have to worry about journaling. They can journal it themselves. But I just love how flexible it is, and you know, how much pictures you know you can add on here. If you wanted to, you can just fold this in half and add some more pages, or add some more. You know, you can make it 12 pages versus 10, or whichever. You know, you can have another picture here. You know, the sky's the limit in making of these albums. So I myself would love to use things that I already have in hand to create more albums and make it look new and contemporary by just adding a little touches here and there. So I hope you like it, and if there's other things that you guys want to learn about, just let me know. If you want to go ahead and like the video, and leave a comment, and please subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye.